What you are about to hear will blow your mind and give you six-pack abs without even exercising.
Pull up a bar stool and relax.
Hey, who wants to have some fun?
You've made it to Happy Hour with John Gaskins.
Oh, no. Not again.
Get ready for entertaining local and regional sports talk that will change your life. Or not.
And by the way, when you're telling these little stories, here's a good idea. Have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the listener.
Here's your host, John Gaskins.
Here's Johnny. Hello! Ah!
I'm back, baby! I'm back!
Whoa! Whoa! That was me last night. Jumping off the couch.
Not me.
I don't have a dog in the fight. I mean, I kind of am cheering for the Knicks, but even if I weren't, just one of those moments in sports. The OG tip in, 1 second left. That's just, you're never going to forget it. To me, I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. It's one of the more amazing moments considering what was on the line. I've seen at the end of a sporting event. Hyperbole, recency bias, I don't know. But it's Thirsty Thursday with Trent Singer here at the Orion. Trent Tinger at the Sorion.
Trent Singer at the Sorion.
And we're not even drinking alcohol. Cheers. We've got Happy Refreshers from Lagunitas, or as Harry Carey likes to say, Lagunitas. And what's Cordell cracking open? A Diet Coke. We're non-alcoholic today, and that's fine. There's a lot of good non-alcoholic drinks at the friendly downtown neighborhood bar.
That's true.
We're fine.
Best bar in Sioux Falls.
We're living the true high life, Trent.
That's true.
Very refreshing. So good to see you, and cheers. And what we're going to do here is, we'll talk about the game last night, but we spent a long time talking about the legendary game and finish and what went wrong with the Spurs with our Timberwolves panel, our Timberwolves talk panel. This guy just walking in, the owner of the bar, Johnny Oppold, and Chris Johnson, USF basketball coach. We just taped it. It was a blast. Highly recommend it because I thought what the world needed more today is more reaction to last night's game.
It was a hell of a game.
Nobody else is talking about it, but nobody else talks about it like we do. It was a hell of a game, but we're going to spin it South Dakota a little bit, or our favorite local memories of like the most amazing comebacks, finishes, and I'm tossing in electric crowds because it was clear that that's what the case was at Madison Square Garden. You had guys like Mike Breen, who's been calling Knicks games. He said it for 34 years. He's never felt the Garden shake and erupt like that. So anyway,
that was brutal.
Well, Trent's angle is he's a Spurs fan.
Well, I jumped. I'll be honest with you. I've jumped on this bandwagon probably around the Timberwolves series. I kind of whoever was going to win that series, I don't want off this bandwagon. I really like this Spurs team. I love Wemby. I love Dylan Harper. I'd like to see Dylan Harper get a little bit more involved in this team too, because to be quite honest,
actually closed right now, guys. Sorry, opens. It's all right. It was unlocked. It's open at 4.
I'd like to see Dylan Harper get more involved.
Excuse me for a second. Keep going.
Yeah, you're good. It's brutal. It's brutal, especially from a Spurs perspective too. You got to understand, like this is a franchise. I know they've won 5 titles. They have had some of the most heartbreaking losses in playoffs. You remember the Derek Fisher shot in 2004 with 0.4 seconds left? I remember it. And
did the Spurs ever get Robert Ory before Robert Ory was a Spur?
I remember the 2013 NBA Finals Game 6. Ray Allen hits the corner 3 in front of a half-empty arena in Miami, and Miami went on to win in overtime. Yeah. And now this one. I mean, 29-point lead. That was brutal. Tough to swallow if you're a Spurs fan. But it's a young team, and I think the crazy thing to me is De'Aaron Fox, their veteran, was the one making kind of the plays that cost him in the end.
Yeah, the boneheaded plays. I mean, he said it, and I don't necessarily doubt it. Maybe it is human instinct. You get caught up in the moment. I'm going to finish a layup here. But it was even on his way up, though, he was so la-di-da about it that it got easily blocked by by a beast who was chasing him down.
It hit his arm. It hit his arm. He hit him on the arm. You can see that. You can watch it. I mean, he hits him on the arm. It's a foul. But they're not going to call that, though. I mean, the reality is they're not going to call that. So you need to just hold on to the ball and get yourself to the free throw line.
I mean, do you agree with Charles Barkley and our own Chris Johnson? Chris Johnson was saying this as the comeback was happening when I was texting him last night that because, look, to be honest, I missed like the first 20 of the 29-point comeback. I was having dinner on the patio with Gilbert and not really caring if I was missing the game because I thought it was over. And anyway, I tuned back in when it was 9, and then it got down to 7 and 4, and that's when I texted Chris, like, oh my God, what an amazing game. And he's like, and the dumbest game I've ever seen. And the dumbest game dumbest play coaching I've ever seen.
There's so much in that second half that I look back. Obviously, the fourth quarter run they made, I saw it coming because it was a 29-point lead. They get it down to about 16, and I said, if the Knicks can keep it here, they're within striking range. And they did. They kept it right within that, like, I think it buoyed back to 20, and they got it back down to 15, 16 points, and it stayed there up until about 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and then they made their run. And it was all, I'm texting my friend who's a big Spurs fan, and we're just like, if they can weather that storm, I feel good about them winning this game. But I didn't like some of the coaching decisions from Mitch Johnson in that fourth quarter, though. They didn't, like, Dylan Harper didn't play at all.
Yeah.
It was all De'Aaron Fox, and I think that offense runs the best when Dylan Harper is running the point. And I know he's young, and there were some shots that they were taking too many shots too early in the shot clock too, and they fell in love with the 3-ball because they were hitting so many in the first half.
Yeah, and I criticizing coaching is the easiest, sometimes laziest thing to do.
Look,
when it comes to all sports, but I mean, when you blow a 29-point lead, it's like call a timeout or two, get them regrouped, tell them to stop. Even Chris Johnson, the coach here, said. Those threes go in, no one's talking about how dumb shots they were. So that all happened. A lot of great places. If you missed the first 5 or 10 minutes of Inside the NBA last night, I mean, that show's been the best.
It's getting really good now.
The GOAT of studio shows. And by the way, I tweeted that last night thinking, I mean, that's a fairly universal, but there's always going to be some yin-yang that's like, no, it's not, the whatever. Brent Musburger and Jimmy the Greek or whoever is like, no one argues that that's like the best post-game show that's ever been created, and in its biggest moment, because remember, these guys have never done the finals. They've always been over there on TNT.
Yep.
So they're finally doing finals games, and in like one of the all-time legendary finals games, legendary collapses, legendary comebacks, legendary shots. They couldn't have crushed it any better. It's like the show it's always been on steroids, where Ernie Johnson just asks the perfect question to start the show, what the hell just happened?
Yep.
And Kenny's microphone doesn't work, and so Ernie, the pro that he is, just sticks his microphone in his face. That problem solved. And then we might even grab the clip. If we don't grab the clip, Kenny just is like, what wherewithal by Brunson to hoist the shot with 5 seconds left. So there's time for OG to get the rebound, and that's championship. And Barkley's interrupting him. That's all you got? That's your first thought? No filter, interrupting. And then you just like, that's I think dumbest game in the history, dumbest team in the history of civilization.
One thing I noticed about those two lately is I think they've come to the realization that the network needs them more than they need the network.
Oh yeah, that's been for years.
That is the reality here, though.
That point came a long time ago.
And it ratings-wise, this has to be working in their favor.
Well, it does. Plus, the game itself was the highest-rated game in 30 years. Highest-rated NBA Finals game, and therefore I would think NBA game in 30 years.
Yep.
So, we're a local sports show here, and Trent is Mr. Local, just because the sanctioned sports have stopped in high school and college for the summer. Doesn't mean we're not going to have shows. Doesn't mean there's going to be great stories to tell and things to talk about here on Thirsty Thursdays. But everybody on Earth, okay, I shouldn't say that. Everybody in America. Okay, a lot of people were, we may as well talk about it because you listening and watching out there probably watched it as well. But again, we did plenty of that with Chris and John. What I thought we would do, which I think is something a good local sports show does, something shows that I've been hosting have been doing for years, things like this. You go, okay, well, let's bring it back to South Dakota. Let's South Dakota-ize this. You've been here for a decade now, covering local sports.
Since 2018.
Since 20, that's a decade.
Not
enough.
a lot of basketball, though. I mean, basketball was really since 2022, 23, so I haven't seen too many.
Yeah.
I saw a pretty good comeback this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been here for about combined 13, 14 years, and I enlisted the likes of, here's an A-list roll call of Sioux Falls sports luminaries.
Okay.
Stu Whitney,
Yeah.
Matt Zimmer, Craig Mattick.
Oh, you got it then.
Terry Vandrovec. Mick Gary has not responded yet, but I didn't give them a lot of heads up. So, but the first few guys responded with their lists, and so just I like a good host wouldn't. I haven't really narrowed it down. I thought it was an incredible comeback. It's the greatest comeback in NBA Finals history. Best halftime comeback, 27 points in the history of the NBA playoffs.
Yep.
So it's literally an epic. And then that finish again. We've seen crazy jumpers. We've seen a half quarter or two, maybe in the Leitner shot, but like just a wow shot at the end, which was kind of lucky, but also just plain. It gets off your seat, makes you go wow. Yep. All of that. So what are ours from our covering some basketball? And I went for basketball. If I went for all sports, we'd be here forever talking about last-second touchdowns and Hail Marys. So I will lead things off here. By the way, we haven't talked about our shirts today.
I've worn this one before.
You got a shirt that just says Trent.
It's Trent, yep. It's a wrestler.
In horror movie type of things.
Yeah.
Black shirt.
It's not about the town in South Dakota.
Not about the town of Trent, South Dakota.
This is the human being, Trent Beretta.
I'm just getting ready for the Canaries' 6-game homestand here.
Yeah.
Tonight? With my bright
tonight?
yellow jacket. Starts Friday.
Tomorrow, they're off today, right?
They're off today. Canaries start 6 in a row at home. The weather looks mostly good. Gonna have a lot of fun. Special jerseys on Friday and Saturday night. Crush Cancer and Union Night. $8 tickets if you're in a union and show your union badge on Saturday. $3.50 domestics before first pitch Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Sundays you can get the family 4-pack, 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, $60. All kinds of great stuff. sfcanaries.com. I'll see you out at the ballpark. And on Friday night I'll be wearing this. Fireworks after the game.
Awesome.
We now return to our program. The first shot, and usually it's the best, right? The first that comes to your mind, the wow moments, the wow shots, wasn't really a legendary epic comeback, although the season for the winning team was an epic comeback from the abyss. South Dakota State Jackrabbits, the Michael Orest shot, 2017 Summit League Tournament semifinals. Before I go any further explaining, we had Mike Dahm on the show last week. And this is a man who went to 3 NCAA tournaments, top 10 in NCAA scoring, all in an SDSU uniform. He played in the greatest 4 or 5 years the Jacks arguably have had. And, well, Mike, what's your favorite, best memory? The Michael Orest shot, because Mike Dahm thought he was going to take the shot to beat rival USD in a Summit Tournament semifinal for the rights to go to the championship, and you win the championship, you're in the big dance. And the Yotes were the number 1 seed. The Jacks had started the league season 1-6. First year TJ Otzelberger. A lot of people are thinking, who is this guy? How is he screwing this up? And they just roared down the stretch, win 7 of 9, and then the Michael Orest shot, guy who had shot 28% or so on the year. But the shot lights out that night, had an open shot, and drove the knife right through the Coyotes' hearts in a packed, electric, I'd say 70% Jacks, but definitely, red and blue and yellow, Denny Sanford Premier Center. Number 1, by the way, anybody wants to chime in, can't do it live, but at John K. Gaskins or at Happy Hour with JG on Twitter with the best, most incredible moments South Dakota basketball history.
As far as stakes, that's pretty high up there because it's a Summit League tournament game.
Huge crowd.
What was it, 9 years ago then now?
Yeah, and hey, the Jacks have won 7 of those, and the Yotes still have to win one. I mean, the Yotes will truly feel like they've arrived in the Summit League in basketball when the men win the Summit League tournament. The women have won 4. But that was insane in the membrane. Okay,
I've got some regular season games.
Okay.
I'll go with this 2019 game, February 16th. I wasn't here. I mean, I was here, but didn't cover this game or anything.
Yeah.
Jacks is a regular season game. 17-point second-half deficit against North Dakota State in Fargo. They came back to win that game 78-77. David Jenkins, 24 points for the Jacks, 17 in the second half, and he had a half-court buzzer beater to win the game. Jacks never led in the second half until the game-winning shot.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's a pretty 17-point comeback against a rival, a conference rival. That's a pretty good one.
And thank you for bringing up David Jenkins. I got to get him on the show, too.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal. I mean, he gets buried in Mike
the
Dom
lore of-
Dom and Nate Walters, Baylor Shireman, recency bias. But, man, David Jenkins was a dude. Plus, a lot of people didn't love him because, oh, my God, he transferred.
Yep.
Which, everybody does now. All right, so that's a good one. I'll go high school now. We'll bounce all over the place. First high school game I could think of that just dropped my jaw, end of a game. And, again, it helps if it's in a championship game or a state tournament. And did we find it? Did we find the O'Gorman shot? We did. Great. So you'll probably be able to see it. If you're watching this with Cordell Wright's video production at SiouxFallsLive.com, where you should always watch the show. I don't know if you're out there. I don't think you were. I think it was Brian Henshin was out there for the Argus back in the day. 2019.
Yep, it would have been Brian.
Matthew Moores, who was on his way, we thought, to being the biggest scorer in the history of South Dakota high school basketball. I think he ended up just a bit short. But hit the game winner. Well, here's another one. He hits the game winner as a freshman.
I was going to say, but 2019 he would have been.
I forgot about that one before the second year. Yeah, Matthew Moores as a freshman hit a game winner. It was with about 15 seconds left, but it was a game winner in 2018 in Sioux Falls, 30 feet away from me, courtside calling the game. That was pretty special. That was incredible.
Championship?
We talked about that with them recently on an interview you can go back and listen to, and it was a championship game.
Yeah.
Yep. The very next year, Yankton's going for the repeat. I think they're the number one seed, number one or number two. And they're playing O'Gorman, another Derek Roby, not the best team in the state, but they'll scrape and claw and bite at your kneecaps and heels. And Yankton's ahead. O'Gorman has the ball. Five seconds left. It's ticking down. There's an inbounds pass. Buzzer goes off. Shot gets released right about the same time. I continue to forget the kid's name, but he nails it. O'Gorman fans go crazy. Yankton fans are crying bloody murder because they thought it was after the shot clock. And guess what? No replay, Jack. There was replay after this game. It wasn't just a phenomenal, epic, historic play. It was a historic moment. It changed the state tournament to where, hey, these games are all televised. There's cameras everywhere. If there's a disputed, and I don't know if it's the last minute or two or because it's not the whole game, but you can go to replay and change a call like that, but you couldn't. And so a controversial win. And, of course, for O'Gorman, who, let's face it, that's the team more people dislike than everybody else all across the state. So it came with controversy. Craig Mattick calling the game on on SDTV, right?
SDPB.
SDPB, thank you. I'm calling it on the radio up in the rafters for KWSN. Craig and Mike Henriksen calling it. The things that Yankton fans were yelling at them because they wanted these guys to, the fans wanted these guys to control the narrative on the air. And what they were yelling at the refs, what they were yelling about O'Gorman was just apparently, it was kind of the worst of what people get, the kind of emotions that sports broils. And so it was epic, and it changed South Dakota high school basketball.
Yeah.
So there was
that. I'll go high school one too. This happened just this year. I wasn't there to cover it. I've never been there to cover it. I've talked about it on this show. I'd love to go cover the Class B tournament in Aberdeen. So this was the Class B championship between Freeman and Castlewood. A 13-point deficit for Freeman in the second half. Not a massive deficit. But the stakes, I think, is what's really significant here. Erased the 13-point deficit, beat Castlewood 61-53 in the Class B championship, and it was, I believe it's Freeman's first state championship since 1975.
Wow.
Yeah. So, like a half a century of not winning a state championship, to do it in that fashion was pretty cool.
We'll stay with high school. We'll go back to some college memories, and I think Stu Whitney had a Skyforce memory with for me, which
that would be good.
I was certainly hoping so because he covered it back in the day when the arena was full and rocking all the time in the 90s. But Craig Mattick's first thought that came to mind, 1998, regular season.
Oh, boy.
O'Gorman at Brandon Valley. Austin Hansen, one of the best ever in the state's history. Mr. Basketball that year. He beat out Mike Miller. Beat out Mike Miller for Mr. Basketball. Kid's name was Austin Hansen.
No, Mike. What'd you say?
Mike Miller.
Never heard
Google
of
him.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
He was okay. He went on to have play in college.
Did he? Okay.
And I think he got paid to play after that.
Did he?
Owned a sports bar for a while here. BV gym was packed. The old Brandon Valley gym. Hansen hits the basket late. Craig said he couldn't hear himself talking as he was calling the game on the radio. It was the most deafening crowd noise he's ever been a part of. I mean, that includes state tournaments, I guess. And Hansen, and Craig looked this up. End of the story. Hansen and Mike Miller actually shared Mr. Basketball in 1998. What's crazy about this is O'Gorman and Brandon Valley would meet again in the state championship game later that year in 1998. And our guest on Monday, Mike Begeman, was the coach of that O'Gorman team. So he'll kind of take it from there, from the state tournament.
Yeah.
So that was Craig Mattick's fondest, most wow-popping memory. And this is a man who's been calling games for 30-plus years.
I've seen some thrilling high school basketball games, but I
Sure.
don't know that I've seen too many huge comebacks in high school. I remember, was it 1 or 2 years ago? It was a regular season game between O'Gorman and Washington. I wasn't expecting much from it. It was at Washington. Ended up being a fantastic game, and I think O'Gorman ended up squeaking it out at the end. It went to 1 or 2 overtimes, and Derek Roby was just in his finest form after the game. I remember that.
Yes.
I got a couple.
We'll miss him. All right.
I got a couple that I'll couple together because they happen in the same season. So the 22-23 season for the Jacks, they actually ended up having 3 10-plus point comebacks in that season, and here's 2 of them. One of them is the biggest comeback in program history. They rallied to beat Eastern Washington at home in non-conference play, 77-76. Trailed 69-46 with 8:36 left in the game before going on to outscore Eastern Washington 31-7 in the last just inside 9-minute span. Zeke Mayo career high 30 points, including the final bucket of the game, which would have put him at his career high with 2 seconds left to win the game. South Dakota State was a perfect 15 of 15 from the stripe.
Wow.
During that run, and they forced 5 Eastern Washington turnovers. So that was probably a pretty big one, as far as early season non-conference games. But in that same season, this one was SDSU's third 10-plus point comeback of that season, the 22-23 season. The Jacks trailed 59-41 with 13 to go at Denver. And then Jacks went into full court defensively, went on a 30-12 run over an 8-20 span, and then Zeke Mayo finish it off with ends up scoring 27 points in that game. They won 80-75. So that was a wild season for them. I don't even think they won the Summit League that year. I think Oral Roberts won it that year.
Jacks women, lots of legendary games and shots. And again, we're just going for the most bonkers moments we can remember in South Dakota basketball history, which college or pro or high school, buzzer beaters, big comebacks, electric crowds. This happened in Minneapolis at the old barn. I do remember this. Terry Vandrovec submits, he labels this the Gophers beaten by the Jackrabbits. And think about how 15 years ago, how big of a deal that was. Now you're like, yeah, sure, I believe that. But, about 16 years ago, a shot at the buzzer that merited a long review and a change in the rule book. So Maria Bover, whose high school games in Worthington I called, playing for the Jacks now, scored on a layup as time expired. SDSU 59-58 over Minnesota. Huge early win for those early Jacks teams in the Summit League and Division I. SDSU trailed by 7 points, 6 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the game. Held Minnesota without a field goal for the final 5:05. But apparently it was a long review at the buzzer to see if Maria Bover beat the buzzer. and I don't have the exact date on this, what year it actually was, but it was circa 20.
Looks like January 1st, 1970 there, John.
I don't think that's quite right. Thank you, though. Somewhere in the late 2000s.
Yeah.
I think I might have still been in Worthington, whether I was in Worthington or I was now working in Sioux Falls. I remember calling Maria, family friend, and talking to her about that either shortly after the game or on the next day's show. That was pretty wild, something that a lot of people, it's been a long time. People probably forgot. Next on your list?
Yeah, I got honestly, I'll give you the one that I remember.
Okay.
This happened this year. I was actually covering this game, and then I had to go over and cover hockey later that night. So it was at the Elman Center. Augustana St. Cloud State, battle between ones. We previewed that game here, right here at Orion
We
Pub.
did.
And Augie had a chance to win the NSIC, or I think at least go into a tie with St. Cloud State for that game for the NSIC title. But St. Cloud State could win it outright. They did. Augie was up 16 points in the second half. And St. Cloud State rallied to win it 87-80, and clinched the regular season title for the Huskies.
Did you mention South Dakota State Summit League tournament to beat number 2 Oral Roberts overtime in the first Summit tourney in Sioux Falls?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I do remember that. I don't remember a lot of the details, but second submission from Terry Vandrovec. This was 2009. I do remember this. Again, this was such a big deal, the Summit League tournament coming to Sioux Falls, tiny, old, dumpy Sioux Falls Arena, loud old barn. I remember talking to a guy who was working on the crew for ESPN, like the production crew chief. I had him on the show during a game while the show was going on, and they're going to say nice things. And I'm like, "What do you think of the place?" And he's just like, "It's a great old barn, great old noisy barn. I love these old barns."
5 years before they built the Premier Center, right?
5 years, yeah, something like that. Yeah, exactly 5 years. But I just remember that was memorable because I had forgotten this was a mad charging comeback, but they did beat Oral Roberts in overtime. SDSU was the number 7 seed. They had about 5 straight losing seasons, 4 of which were single digits. Scott Nagy, who was a young up-and-coming Division II coach, was lost in Division I translation. And, a lot of people, I think a lot of Jacks fans want him gone. I mean, about 5 years, he couldn't muster a winning season, and it looked like he was in over his head in Division I. And they're the 7th seed in the first tournament that comes to Sioux Falls, a chance to play postseason in front of your home fans. Oral Roberts at the time, along with Oakland, those are the 2 big dogs of the league. And Scott Sutton, Eddie's boy, was the coach. And this was a massive upset and a massive comeback. And I'll just never forget. After the post-game show, you could see Scott was a very, everyone remembers Scott was kind of a stoic and cranky guy, okay? Rarely ever smiled. He was always angry even in victory. And, and the first question was something like, how did this happen? How'd you guys do it? Or what'd you tell him? Or whatever, to elicit this comeback. And you could just tell the emotion, like a weight was off his shoulders. Like, I think I can still be SDSU's coach now. We kind of won a huge game here. And he just said, not tonight. Not tonight. It was Herb Brooks. I don't know if he was quoting Herb Brooks or not, but it was kind of like, no, we're not going to be the same old Jackrabbits tonight. That was literally the night South Dakota State basketball turned around into what it became. Because before that, they were a losing team, couldn't get out of their own way. And then the tournament comes to Sioux Falls. Now they can harness all that. And, of course, they won 3 with Scott. And, he gets the right state job. Now he's in Southern Illinois. And, Otzelberger comes in and wins a couple, so does Hendo, and the rest is history. So some of these aren't just epic comebacks and wins.
They're literally
like
staple wins,
historic
right?
things where it kind of turns the tide of history, which I love. You want to hear a Stu Whitney Skyforce memory?
Let's get one.
This is pretty good. I'll try to channel like the voice of Stu Whitney because he writes everything like he's writing an article or a book. And he used to come on the radio every week to do Stu's Views. And he just wrote these legendary 10-minute monologues.
Oh, yeah.
So he's
a hell of a writer.
So he's just texting me, and he still writes it like he's writing a dramatic column. Believe it or not, the loudest environment Stu Whitney can remember occurred in a CBA playoff game at the Sioux Falls Arena at the height of the Skyforce craze in this city. It was the 1996 Conference Finals, Game 4 of a best-of-5 series, with Sioux Falls trying to finish off the Florida Beach Dogs, who were formerly the Rapid City Thrillers, their arch rival, who were still coached by Eric Musselman. who we had on the show last week. He's now the coach at USC. Musselman had coached the team in Rapid City, knew how to play the villain. He rode the refs constantly, was widely reviled in Sioux Falls. The place was sold out. You literally could not get a ticket. And unlike high school state tournament scenarios, there were no divided loyalties. Every single person in the stands was rooting for the Skyforce. They stood for much of the game. It was absolute craziness, especially when you think of the CBA or G League in its later or current state. I mean, yeah, sadly, people just don't go to those games anymore. More to the Skyforce than probably all the other teams in the league. They still draw decent crowds here, but nothing like they used to.
So this was at the arena, though?
This was at the arena, 1996. The Skyforce trailed big early and made a furious comeback that came up just short. That's kind of a buzzkill. But then he said he remembered covering Game 5 in West Palm Beach, a Sioux Falls victory that propelled the Skyforce into the CBA Finals where they defeated Fort Wayne for their first ever title. But they never matched the intensity of that night against Eric Musselman and the Big Bad Beach Dogs.
That's great.
At the arena. So there you go.
I think the loudest environment I've ever seen. I kid you not. Maybe I just wasn't used to it as much and had been taken away from it a little bit. But I believe it was. Oh man, when would it have been? 2021, 2020, 2019. It would have been around there. I was freelancing for the Argus, covering an Augustana region championship game to get to the national tournament. And this is Tom Billiter, senior laden team. I remember him bringing all of his seniors in. I think there was 8 or 9 of them all into the presser.
Okay.
And the Pentagon was as loud as I've ever heard it.
Nice.
I've heard it in some really loud games. And Augie hung in for a little bit in that first half, but some guy named Ben McCollum and Northwest Missouri State ended up winning that game. And I remember like just sitting in that presser afterwards and interviewing Ben McCollum, and I'm like, why is this guy coaching here? And that was the first time I ever truly thought that. I'm like, why is he still a Division II coach? I think he genuinely loved coaching there. Like it was a special place to him, and obviously he's gone on to do some pretty big things.
He had some pretty decent perception there. Yeah. Like maybe
Augie was the 1 seed in that tournament too. I think Northwest Missouri State was the 2 or 3 in that region tournament. And so, it was kind of an upset, I guess, really. But a lot of people were like, "Look out! These guys have been here, done that."
Yeah, that guy should be coaching Iowa in the Elite Eight someday. And then now you've got the Iowa hat.
Yep. Well, this is my Ben McCollum hat right here.
How dare you flash that in front of me? Well, that's all. Is that about all
I got one more.
Okay.
I'll throw it out there.
One more for the road.
2024. This would be the most recent one college-wise on my list. South Dakota State against UNO in Omaha. SDSU trailed by 6 with 49 seconds remaining before Matt Mims hits a triple, forces a turnover to get the ball back, and then Zeke Mayo converts a 3-point play to send the game to overtime at 73-73. Jacks eventually went on to win that game 85-77 in overtime. Another regular season game.
It's all a blur. There's just so many games.
Yeah.
We tend to have recency bias. That's kind of the point. I'm sure there are plenty of dudes and ladies out there who have listened to this and have gone, man, they're missing this.
Oh, I'm sure we are.
They're missing that. But
that's the fun of it.
But I'm
tell us what we're missing.
Tell us what we're missing. At Happy Hour with JG or at John K. Gaskins on Twitter. I'll check Twitter one last time. This is great content right here, me checking Twitter. But I just wanted to. Let's see. No, I got nothing additional.
Okay.
And then here's Matt Zimmer's contribution.
I was going to say, did we get anything?
Oh, drum roll, please. I mean, I did get an answer. Matt Zimmer's been covering sports in Sioux Falls for 20-plus years. Every level of sports. Not a lot comes to mind. A few Canaries games when they came back from down 7-8 runs. That does happen at the Bird Cage at the bandbox. And a few nice comebacks by South Dakota State women's basketball, but nothing like last night. Thanks, Tim.
There really isn't anything like last night. 29 points in the NBA Finals. If you talk about the stakes of that, no. That could be the death blow for the Spurs. I hope it's not. I hope they can force this to 7. But
we could go on and on. But it's like, again, we tend to forget these, and in the moment, we're like, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. But this feels like that will stand. That will stand the test of time.
It's kind of like 28-3, right?
It's
28-3 Falcons Patriots Super Bowl.
Comeback wise, yes. Even if there wasn't a comeback, just the the nature of the tip-in with 1 second left.
What's what I mean,
Again, the
yeah.
only thing I can compare to for wow moments in a game of that high stakes is the North Carolina State, Jimmy Valvano, Lorenzo Charles at the buzzer, dunking in what would have been an air ball from Derek Whitmore. I mean, they made a whole 30 for 30 out of it. That's the first thing that came to mind, is like a similar type of scenario where the shot to win misses and somebody's just there at the right place,
Crashing.
right time for us to all go, holy smokes.
And I kept sitting there going, they're crashing. Like, on that possession, they're selling out for the bucket.
I think, by the way,
They need it.
Jordan's shot to beat the Jazz, which we thought was the final shot of his career, to win the 6th and final championship with the Bulls. I mean, that's right. But that was a planned shot.
Yeah.
That's Michael. It's Michael Jordan.
The Derek Fisher shot in the finals is, that was Western Conference Finals. But that Derek Fisher shot with 0.4 seconds left against the Spurs is something. And I'll never forget watching the 2013 finals. Spurs Heat.
Mm-hmm.
If Kawhi Leonard hits 2 free throws, the Spurs win the championship. They up 3-2 in the series. Game 6. The arena's empty because of these, Miami fans are done. They're sick of it. And then they get, an insane offensive rebound. Chris Bosh gets an insane offensive rebound. Ray Allen hits that corner 3 fading away, and they go to overtime and win that game. And it was a death blow for the Spurs then. I think with this one, they're such a young team. How do you shake it?
Yeah. Well, we'll find out Saturday night.
Yep.
Orion Pub, downtown Sioux Falls, best place in town to come watch it, because it's a lot of the same people that pack this place for Timberwolves playoff games. And I regret I wasn't here last night, but how was I to know that the Knicks were going to come all the way back and win it? But I'm sure it was loud and popping.
2-0 Mexico.
2-0 Mexico. We got that on. World Cup 101 for Dummies with Jackson Rentschler and Clint Cron on Happy Hour yesterday. If you want to get yourself ready and primed for the World Cup, we'll talk about it next week when a few games are in the books. We hope you enjoyed those trips down memory lane.
Yeah.
We could go on, but we won't, much to Cordell's surprise. This truly is it. We do encourage you to stick around or flip over to the thoughts from last night's game from the Timberwolves Talk panel. Johnny Ops and Chris Johnson here on today's Happy Hour from the Orion Pub.
Cheers.
Cheers.